Self-diagnosis is good if it's treated as such. Let me explain myself. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm glad to see you again. I'm really sorry there was no video last week, but I had such a crazy week at work. I just really had to take it easy and rest and not make a video for a week. I'm sorry, I'm here this week. So today's topic is kind of controversial, I guess. At least some people are very opinionated about it, and it's self-diagnosis and what my opinion is on it. Self-diagnosis is something we actually, I think, do pretty often. And to me, self-diagnosis, doing research, looking up symptoms and what they could be, is a really good first step. It's something that can be very useful for clinicians to know exactly, well, I think I might be having this or this or this. I completely understand the need to put words on what you're feeling. I've had this so much in knowing, okay, this is what is wrong with me, here's the word. It's also much easier to communicate, okay, this is what is going on, here's the word, rather than doing a whole paragraph on it. It's easier to do it this way. It's also very helpful to understand what's going on and to get a sense of community and to have the words to connect with each other and find people who are struggling with stuff that are quite similar. So as a first step, self-diagnosing is not something that I have an issue with. What I have an issue with is using self-diagnosis as an actual diagnosis. So let me explain that. To me, it's an issue when someone says, okay, I have BPD, I have social anxiety disorder, I have this and that, rather than saying, I think I have DID, I think I may have autism, I feel like I have traits of BPD. Having suspicions, having doubts is, of course, is fine. I just don't think you should state it as a full diagnosis. Self-diagnosis is a first guess, and it really should be treated as such. An actual diagnosis, especially for mental health, can seem quite simple and like, okay, you have this symptom, okay, it must be that. But it's actually quite more complicated, and there's a reason why doctors spend, God knows, something like 10 years studying this. It's not something you can understand with a quick Google search and just label yourself. Imagine if people were doing that for, I don't know, self-diagnosed cancer, self-diagnosed diabetes. Self-diagnoses are more like personal observations of yourself, and then professional diagnoses are diagnoses. They are medical terms. They are something that you can't just decide randomly you have. If you make a self-diagnosis and you need treatment for what brought you to make that self-diagnosis, go seek that treatment, and then you could have a proper diagnosis. The counter-argument to this, to the fact that doctors are knowledgeable, that psychiatrists are professionals, is that sometimes professionals also do misdiagnose people. So yes, doctors aren't gods, they don't know everything, and they can be wrong too, but they have a way smaller chance than you to be wrong, because that's their specialty. If you feel like the professional wasn't listening to you or wasn't trying to understand you, go seek a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion. But if they all tell you, no, you don't have psychosis, no, you don't have depression, then I guess the rational thing to say is, okay, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I am understanding things in not the right angle. Anything that I think really needs to be said in this discussion is that a diagnosis is not an experience. So what I mean is that if you have a very low mood and you go to a psychiatrist and you ask if you have depression, if you could get a diagnosis of depression, and they say, no, you don't have depression, they're not saying you don't have a low mood, they're not saying that you're not suffering, they're not saying that you don't need treatment. They just say that it's not depression, maybe it's something else. It's just like you went to your doctor and said, okay, I think I have a broken leg. And they say, no, you don't have a broken leg, actually your leg is fractured, or maybe you have an abscess, or I don't know. They're not saying that your leg is not hurting, because they probably believe that your leg is hurting. They're just saying that maybe it's not hurting for the reason you think it's hurting. Am I clear? I hope I am clear. Story of my life. If you use a self-diagnosis in the same way that you use a professional diagnosis, you run risks. You run the risk to identifying yourself to something that you actually don't have, identifying yourself with the community that you're actually not really a part of, if you see what I'm saying. You run the risk of getting solutions from others, sufferers that actually don't help you or may even make things worse for you. Or you could just make yourself so scared that, oh my god, maybe I have this lifelong incurable disease. And maybe it's actually something way less serious in the long run, and it's just more minor issue, and that can be treated. And you risk just making yourself way more scared than you actually should be. So here are my thoughts on self-diagnosis. I think it can be helpful. I think it's a great first step, but it should never be used in the same way that a professional diagnosis is used. So please, if you're someone that has self-diagnosed something in you, please say, I think I have depression, I have traits of depression, I have certain symptoms of depression, I am wondering if I have depression. Don't state it as if you had been medically diagnosed, because you haven't. And if you want to be medically diagnosed, go seek a professional, and please seek treatment. So that's it. I hope I wasn't too rambly. Every time I film a video, I'm like, was I clear? Was I not? And I really hope I am. If there was something that wasn't clear, please tell me in the comments. If you disagree with me, please tell me in the comments. I would love to have a discussion with you. That's what my whole channel is about, having a discussion. If you want to chat with me, you can hit me up on Instagram. The link is in the description. I answer every DM I get. And I think that's gonna be it for today. Bye, guys.